Hi, guys. This is Michelle and Kay from Rock the World. We are doing a podcast. We've been doing a podcast now for over a year. So if you've missed any, there's lots online. Download them. But we get together and we talk about interesting topics, news, what's going on, frustrations about being special needs. I'm a special needs parent, but I'm also creator of a modality. I'm Michelle Turner with Movement Lesson. This is Kay Ireland, Kayla, and she's been doing she's got three different types of podcasts. She's all over the place, and today one of her passions is that we're talking about is therapeutic riding, and what she does to benefit herself, but also just enjoy her love of riding. She's a college student. She's rocking the world, and let's give it up to both of us. How are you?
Right now, I'm looking at a framed diamond painting of me riding that my grandparents made by hand one Christmas, and that's not the only horse-themed item in my room. Before we start, a quick note. This episode is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you notice pauses during our conversation, that's natural. We're processing. We're reflecting. That's part of how we communicate. Despite traditional therapies, I still couldn't sit unassisted at 3 years old. That's when I started therapeutic riding through a program certified by Path International. I rode with a leader and two sidewalkers. One of them was an occupational therapist. At that time, the program only ran 8 weeks in the spring and 8 weeks in the fall.
Therapeutic riding can be looked at many different ways. One of the things that you're looking at, it's what we're here to show you. This isn't about just getting on a horse and riding a horse. It's very specific for equine services, and that what you're working on with the child. The best thing about it when you're dealing with true hippotherapy, and words will vary, but when you're dealing with in a therapeutic process, you usually have either an occupational therapist and sometimes both with a physical therapist, with your horse, and with the child who's or the adult that's working with the horse. The theory is, and Kay will correct me if I'm incorrect, but as I see it, it's the movement of the horse allows lots of times that stability through the pelvic region to build up a core movement relationship. However, it is just fun, and it's okay for our kids to actually be in a service that's fun because they're hanging around with horses.
As a horse walks, its hips rotate the same way a human's hips do. For someone unable to walk independently, riding provides the closest sensation to walking. Because I use a wheelchair most of the day, riding helps reduce my high muscle tone. It improves my balance, posture, gait, and stability. The horse constantly challenges my balance. My muscles have to contract and relax continuously to respond. That improves motor planning and coordination. Stopping. Starting. Changing speed. Changing direction. All of that engages my core. And core strength directly impacts head and trunk control, which affects everything from eating to transferring safely. Riding reduces the constant tug of war I have with my own body. And that carries into my entire week.
Another thing that it really does is it improves vision. A lot of people don't think of how this would improve vision, but being up on a horse, which a horse is measured by hands, a full horse is 15 hands. This is why lots of times the kids is like set up with a pony. Also, because a smaller horse allows, again, sometimes the therapist is next to the rider. And in some cases, they're on the horse with the rider. That's not too common, but it happens, and they're assisting the rider in that manner. However, because you are up higher, you have a different spatial relationship. You're now working with your therapist from side to side. So visually, you're crossing midline, you're working on your peripheral midlines. And also, the horse is a lot like a bicycle. If you're not in the direction where the horse wants to go visually, the horse is going to be a little naughty sometimes or go in its own directions. So the rider sometimes learns head control through their vision because if they're down like this, the horse will, they're very conscious of the rider, by the way. The horse might respond to that, but they respond differently from the vision going further. And again, the horse will respond.
Therapeutic riding is structured and goal directed. It improves physical strength. It supports sensory integration. And it provides recreation that can last a lifetime. It's based on games and exercises. But we also work on foundational riding skills like posting and trotting. Steering is incorporated in different ways depending on the rider. I have videos of myself independently steering as early as 2011. It's different from hippotherapy. Hippotherapy is a clinical treatment provided by licensed therapists who use the horse's movement during therapy sessions.
Right. There's variations to working with, and sometimes you're just at the aunt's house riding the horse and you're with family and so forth. They all have their variations to benefits. It is better to really evaluate your child how they are going to be on the horse. I will say the couple of cons that you have to take into considerations. Some kids are very allergic, not necessarily to the horse, but maybe the hay and so forth. So that might be something to consider with your child. And also, they might be cautious or afraid of animals. And that might be something that don't look at just because you went out once and tried to get on a horse and that was a deal breaker. You might want to go and pet the horse, feed the horse, wash the horse, get close into proximity, watch someone else ride the horse. That familiarity might take a little bit of time to get your child involved with horseback riding or with equine services. And that would be the same for a dog, let's say, or a goat. But
Yeah.
it's really the benefits really in the most part outweigh the cons, but it's just something I wanted to bring up that you might want to think about.
Sidewalkers are trained volunteers who provide both physical and emotional support. Leaders guide the horse when the rider cannot independently steer. Most ponies come with some training and are often used for children. Our exercise rider works with them to make sure they stay attentive to leaders and riders and aren't too frisky, especially when cooler weather sets in. Many are retired, so they tend to have mild temperaments. Instructors and therapists carefully evaluate each horse to determine which rider they're best suited for. For example, some riders rock for sensory input. The horse has to tolerate that safely and calmly. Height, weight, tone, and personality all factor into creating the right match.
This is really a good point, though, that Kay's bringing up. Also, too, something to consider. Maybe you personally, as a parent, have a different view of a horse or have watched too many cowboy westerns. The horses are really chosen for this. The sidewalkers are not there to protect you from the horse taking off. That is a consideration. However, these horses are really chosen for the luxury of working with your child. They want to work with your child.
Yeah.
They're not like a little cheeky 2-year-old that's going to give you a little bit of frisk. They're really attentive to the child. You can see that they're very gentle and soft. They just understand. I know it's an animal, but they're not putting you on a bucking bronco again that you've watched too many movies. So it's a wonderful opportunity for you and your family to have just a nice outside process that you might consider therapy.
Yeah.
I ride once a week for 45 minutes. Each session includes warm-ups, games, and goal-specific exercises. Lessons may focus on balance, coordination, sensory input, posture, or strength, depending on the rider.
Can you tell us a bit about how the instructors get certified and the team approach?
The Professional Association of Therapeutic Horsemanship International is our parent organization. All instructors are certified through PATH International. The team collaborates, and they adjust support levels as the rider progresses.
That might be the hardest part too, about when you're getting larger, bigger, and you have to change horses that you're used to, like Snowball and Cupcake, and changing your ride. But that's okay because um again, the horse is there, and the next horse is just going to be really as awesome as the last horse is.
Yeah.
And when you look back, I know it's hard for a young rider to give up a horse, but at the same time, when they get their new horse, it's a wonderful opportunity. But also too, you have a lot of snow going on right now, or
Yeah.
uh, talk about the program continuity and the season length, because I'm in Phoenix. What you might be riding in the summertime, I'm not here, and we get a longer winter to fall type ride.
Today, the program runs from late April through early November. We partner with the Agri-Science Academy to extend the season by about 10 additional weeks in the spring and fall. Our long-term goal is a permanent facility with an indoor arena for year-round riding.
The indoor arena also is wonderful, not only for year-round riding. It just has a much softer, um, uh, I hate to say dirt construction. Sorry, I can't think of the word. But when what Kay does for her style of riding that she does now for competition, which is dressage, it's a softer feel. An outdoor ring usually is a much harder surface, and you'll feel more of the clunk of the horse's hooves. The quality is so much nicer. But again, an indoor ring gives the opportunity for anyone to ride year long, which is the biggest goal for your child and what they're working with.
Yeah.
And I say child, I'm sorry, adults too. I mean, Kay's a wonderful grown adult, and so, but you tend to think of ponies and kids.
Yeah.
What about some of your early riding experiences, since we're talking about kids?
At the most basic level, we say whoa and walk on to our team. For riders who are more independent, even if support is still nearby, we're responsible for getting the horse to start, stop, turn, and bend in the direction we're traveling. Warm-ups might include hands on helmet, one or both arms out, alternating reaching movements, exercises that challenge balance and trunk control. I've ridden sideways. I've ridden backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Both require significant motor planning. I have to literally reorganize my body and space. Some of the games we play include rolling dice to determine tasks, placing rings on cones, or putting flags into cones. They may look simple, but they require coordination, timing, and body awareness.
body awareness, not only of you, but of the horse. And that's where, two, you might see your child get improved social gains. Now they have to manage the horse and possibly, I wouldn't say take care of the horse because that's unless you're at the stables all the time, but still it's your horse. Before you mount a horse, you have to make sure that they're ready to be mounted. And these things are learned, you're not doing it from early experiences. You're learning them as you go on and how to care for your animal. That's why you can't just get on a horse and say, "Hey, back it up,"
No.
You've got to learn how to teach your horse to go backwards. And again, sometimes too, if you don't do it right, that's where they can be a little cheeky and say,
Mm.
say please. They'll be a little stubborn, but
Mm.
again, that's part of, you're not just learning how to your pelvis works and your muscles work. A lot goes into horseback riding, and this is something, if you do it long term, the benefits are amazing.
'Sometimes I have had to dismount.
Yeah. And and sometimes it's from the previous rider that went before you, that they're a little bit
Yeah.
um jaded. And two, they'll pick up that maybe you didn't have a good mood at school. And again, that's your social awareness, that you have to realize you're on your horse and you've got to manage your moods and your emotionals, and it's a growing process.
8 years with Lucy.
Yep. Talk about some more about the physical and just emotional benefits that you get out of horseback riding.
As a horse walks, its hips rotate the same way a human's hips do. For someone unable to walk independently, riding provides the closest sensation to walking. Because I use a wheelchair most of the day, riding helps reduce my high muscle tone. It improves my balance, posture, gait, and stability. The horse constantly challenges my balance. My muscles have to contract and relax continuously to respond. That improves motor planning and coordination. Stopping, starting, changing speed, changing direction. All of that engages my core. And core strength directly impacts head and trunk control, which affects everything from eating to transferring safely. Riding reduces the constant tug of war I have with my own body. And that carries into my entire week.
So even though you're hearing that again, I really want you to hear it like you're hearing it for the first time. There's a lot that goes on when you're planning how you move versus moving not to plan. We take for granted, or many of us do, of just opening up a tube of toothpaste. And when we try and teaching someone to do that, we think of steps: pick up the toothpaste, undo the top. We don't operate, the human body doesn't operate in steps, and nor does a horse. And a horse really allows a new level of movement to happen
Yeah.
that, again, in the confinements of a bed or a wheelchair or just social inepts, gives so much opportunity to yourself, to your child, to someone that you know. And a lot of people don't know about hippotherapy. So this is a great opportunity for you to say, have you tried horses? I just listened to this great podcast. This girl went from, just getting up and getting good sitting and head control from her horse, and now she's going to talk about para dressage and advanced riding because that's what she's up to. She's competing.
Paradressage is dressage adapted for riders with permanent physical disabilities. Dressage means training in French. It emphasizes harmony, precision, and communication between horse and rider. Paradressage involves performing a memorized test with specific patterns and movements. It's structured, detailed, almost like choreography on horseback. It challenges you to communicate independently with the horse using your seat, legs, hands, and subtle weight shifts. We've modified my tack so I can steer more effectively. Some of the terminology I use, just like any rider, includes inside leg, outside leg, contact, following, and volt. It's through our hands, our legs, our seat, and even subtle weight shifts. When we ask a horse to walk on, our instinct is to tense. But horses respond to relaxation. If I tighten, I send conflicting signals. So I have to soften in order to move forward. I never wear my leg braces when riding. I need to feel everything. I start each ride with my feet out of the stirrups to stretch my hamstrings. When I rode Mocha, who is very wide, I had to place my legs higher on her shoulders.
All of this is going on, and she's done it in front of a judge. So tell us about that.
Twice it was exciting. Judges provide detailed feedback that I bring back into my lessons.
So we're not talking about either with this of just yourself on a horse. This takes a community, and you've really got involved in your community. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah.
I've helped with fundraising, public relations, and event planning. Being involved beyond riding connects me with volunteers, instructors, riders, and supporters. It allows me to give back to the activity that has given me so much.
But what does it mean for you personally, though? What do you get out of it?
Riding is freedom. When I'm on a horse, it replaces my wheelchair, my walker, and my leg braces.
Yeah, I remember there was a very famous uh father and son, the Hoyts, and this was also the first where now you see the specialized wheelchairs, but he ran a marathon with a conventional wheelchair back in the day. But I still remember his son saying, "When I run with my father, I can run." And it just again, it just gives a different aspect to movement. And I think that
Yeah.
horses are really important. So again, what would you tell other people that are thinking about therapeutic riding?
Try it. It's a partnership between horse, rider, and team, a partnership that fosters growth and joy that can last a lifetime.
I have not ridden in a while. I've always enjoyed horses. I almost had one. But I've ridden in Germany. I've ridden in where I grew up in New Jersey. And I can't say enough about horses. Horses are managed care for yourself, for the horse. And it brings structure, is what I really remember, because you can't say, oh, the horse, I'll get you tomorrow. And that's a nice aspect, I think, when your child doesn't think about cleaning the room, let's say, or those kind of aspects, you'd be surprised. Like I really believe the reason Kay's in college and doing what she's doing has a lot to do with that structure from horseback riding, whether she admits it or not. And another one that we're going to talk about is going into what my sons did was karate.
I would love to own one and have a separate power wheelchair for the barn.
All right, well, put it out there because if it's already it'll happen. But yeah, it really is it's not about a love of horses. It really is it's a community. It's working with your family. Again, when she gets to perform, she's gone to her sister's dance recitals and so forth. And at the same time, they get to see her ride before the judges and her competitions. It's just and it gets you out of the house. There's so many, like I said, aspects that people just don't think about. Um, and you get something to talk about, you know. Do you really want to sit there and say, yeah, today I went to therapy versus I was on my horse?
And different position.
The more we know, the more we talk about. Next week, we're going to talk about karate, martial. And again, it's very similar topic, structure, times of days, what to do, the social aspects, the individual aspects. Both my boys are black belts, the Chuck Norris method. I'm a red belt with black stripe. And because I too, since I went to karate, I was like, well, why am I sitting here watching my kids when I could be out there? And it was a game changer. So, but also too, guys, any suggestions, please, please, please comment and let us know what you want to hear about.